Psychologists have linked a break in psychosis to recent increases in YouTube celebrity. Nothing you see in this video should be taken at face value. The man you see before you is a caricature of many things wrong with society. His lifestyle should not be imitated, and his words should be received with the understanding that he is not well, physically or mentally. Signed, Dr. Morven.
Happy 2017, everybody! Woo! Let's do this!
Days Fit Basic Reviews, Days Fit Basic Reviews, Days Fit Basic Reviews, video games. He's not gonna cry, he's not gonna bitch or whine, he's basic, he's gonna review.
Owlboy is a platformer that has been in development for 9 years and takes about 9 hours to play, which is pretty tragic. Makes you reflect on the fleeting nature of art and our struggle to make something memorable without dumping ourselves into it, and then having some idiot YouTuber with no talent pick it apart like a Mandarin Orange. But such is the way of life, I suppose. We're not as important as we think we are. So, what is Owlboy beyond its checkered development past? It's a platformer where you control Otis the Owl and fly around to different dungeons that contain puzzles and bosses. Like Zelda, because that is apparently the only valid comparison for games with bosses and puzzles. You can then summon a supporting cast of characters to your talons, who each have their own abilities that you need to use to open passages and defeat different types of enemies. With this in mind, you'd venture out to stop an evil pirate attempting to gather 3 owl relics, which will make him all-powerful. The picking up characters thing doesn't really work in real life, though.
Come here, buddy. Come here, we're gonna make you a laser gun. That didn't work.
Owlboy is a labor of love, and you can tell. It's a beautiful game, handcrafted in a way that we're hard-pressed to find in this day and age. It has some of the best pixel art I have ever seen in my life, and I say that with no exaggeration. It's gorgeous, and I would say it's worth playing for anyone who cares about pixel art or art in general. While pixel art generally seems to get the misnomer of being a lazy art style, and often is deserving of that misnomer, this is good proof that's not always the case, you pricks. And all of the art ties well into interesting animations, including some incredibly emotive character animations. No kidding, it would have been my favorite art of 2016 had I finished it that year.
Owlboy has a really dope soundtrack, too. It's really light violins and orchestral music, and it does a good job of inspiring awe and making you feel like it's different, that it has its own quality to it. It reminded me of music from way back when. None of the chip tunes or quickly produced stuff that we often see nowadays, but very good, light music that just makes you feel like you're on an adventure. And I really appreciated the music a lot.
Okay, so what now? We've covered the environmental stuff that encases this game. Most people have shut the review off because they think I love it, but I haven't even touched on the actual game. Because herein lies the interesting part of Owlboy. Despite the love and care put into Owlboy, the gameplay is just not that interesting, especially considering the potential of the mechanics. You, at any time, are carrying one of 3 characters with their own strengths and weaknesses, who can be used to solve puzzles in different scenarios and fight enemies according to their abilities. Yet you rarely have to think about who to use. It's a shame. It was so apparent to me that this was a problem. It stuck out so much that I genuinely couldn't get over it. There are moments where it just feels like a complete lack of effort to build on that potential. Specifically, the puzzles. The majority of the puzzles boil down to hitting a switch and walking through a door. Others involve stealth sections which barely even use the ability to carry characters. The lack of inventiveness and challenge with the puzzles just bugged the shit out of me. On top of that, most encounters utilize the characters you carry as varying damage and speed. One character fires a pea shooter, another fires a shotgun. The shotgun takes time to reload. The pea shooter can fire continuously. So everything just breaks down to shooting repeatedly, then switching when the shotgun is ready. To exacerbate the issue, they then take characters away from you due to story reasons, and everything just becomes more bland. I just can't get over the missed potential with the gameplay. It just took away any feeling of ingenuity and created something fairly lacking in uniqueness. Imagine if, instead of each dungeon pretty much utilizing a different character exclusively, they let you use all three in tandem to solve strange puzzles, like throwing a character into the air, webbing him with the spider character, and having him fall faster because he'd weigh more and bust through a seemingly unbreakable wall. Seems rudimentary, but that would be pretty rad, right? Nope. Too bad. More switches, you ninny. Imagine if more combat encounters had made you figure out an order to use the three characters in, so that the boss's weak point would be revealed, like the shotgun staggering an enemy, so you could capture them in a web, and then pelting them with your little ray gun. Nope, too bad. Everyone is a gun. It's a really disappointing waste of a mechanic that would otherwise create really interesting and thoughtful gameplay moments.
I think the boss battles in Owlboy are one of the more interesting parts of the game. They vary widely, though. Some of them feel like they're challenging you to use all your tools, to use every single character that you've gotten to know over the course of the game and become comfortable with. And other ones just seem like you're just shooting them. And that is always a bummer, because bosses are supposed to be the best test of what you've learned in a game so far. Good games always will use bosses to test out your knowledge or to do damage checks to make sure that you are comfortable with the game's mechanics before you move on to the next and tougher area. But in the end, Owlboy and its treatment of me and its utilization of bosses just makes them seem like a small roadblock. No boss takes more than 2 or 3 tries to beat, and none of them really test anything that you know about the game. A couple of them you can utilize things you know about the game to your advantage, but you don't necessarily have to, and it buys into the theory that I think Owlboy is not necessarily a video game that is supposed to appeal to adults or people who really enjoy platformers to be, challenging. It is kind of built as a game that anybody can finish, and that's perfectly fine. But even games like that, like Zelda games, can cause you to have to test yourself and test your knowledge. And that was one of the things I really had hoped Owlboy would do, and it failed pretty miserably.
There are plenty of really good things about Owlboy. It's beautiful, it's adorable, and the characters are fantastically drawn and written. Yet, no matter what I try, I can't help but feel that it is completely forgettable. Whenever anybody asks me about Owlboy, I'll inevitably say, "Oh my god, that game was so pretty." Like a unicorn horn used as a mug for a Russian stout. But I won't remember the gameplay. Humans can barely remember how they got where they are now, let alone remembering using a pea shooter to down a fodder enemy. Jesus Christ, did 2017 have to begin with such extreme disappointment? Good. Oh, just good. My mood's shot, and it's gonna be rotten for the next 350 plus days. Great, thanks, Owlboy. Damn Owlboy. Kids can't shoot. Well, best sad. Stupid video games.
There's been a break in the Basic case. He has started to harm animals. It is as we feared. The psychosis will not go away so easily. Please be back here 8 a.m. sharp 2 weeks from now. I expect all of your results.
Fit, basic reviews, Days Fit, basic reviews, Days Fit, basic reviews, video games. He's not gonna cry, he's not gonna bitch or whine, he's basic, he's gonna read